He built a $25 million empire from scratch, but says he did it all wrong. From losing time with his kids to nearly going broke paying taxes, Boyd Clewis is pulling back the curtain on the hidden costs of success and what he'd do differently if he had to start over.
All right, so my man, Boyd, listen. You and I both have an opportunity to work with our wives. So what has that experience been like over the last 10, 15 years?
Let me tell you this. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I wholeheartedly believe that there is this stigma about working with your spouses and working with family, and you should never do it. And I agree. 100% agree.
You set me up. I was okay.
100% agree that you should only work with your spouse if you are on one accord. There is such a beautiful blessing with having a marriage unit being put inside of business, because business is not just business is also spiritual, and marriage is also spiritual. So if you can connect both of those things together and you're on one accord, then you can be successful. I've seen a lot of people that have these horror stories. It's because the wife was wanting something and the husband was wanting something different, so there's no unity. And whenever something is not unified, there's friction.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm only talking about the spouse. When it comes to working with other family members, don't do it.
Yeah, fire them immediately.
Don't do it. Look. If you have an inkling that your brother, uncle, cousin, sister,
bro,
just don't do it.
Yeah. I used to run a company many years ago called Cousins Delivery. And the reason why I call it Cousins is because when I was developing this company, I was like, you know what? I'm making this for my family. Let me name it something that's inclusive, right? Bro, within the first 6 months, I had fired all my cousins except for one. So I should have just took the S off and called it Cousins, right? Cousin and Cal, right? But like as we think, you know, on this podcast, we talk about money moves and mindsets, right? So like what is something that shifted your focus away from working for somebody and becoming that master entrepreneur that you turned into?
So the first thing that shifted my mindset about not working for someone else, it actually started before I even started working for someone else.
Okay.
I actually grew up with the entrepreneur spirit, and I wholeheartedly believe that innovation and getting things done often comes from a lack.
Yeah.
And I grew up poor, and there was things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to go to the store and buy Debbie snacks and Skittles when I wanted to, but when there's not a lot of disposable income in the house, that becomes a luxury.
Yeah.
And I grew up poor, but we lived in a nice area. So it's difficult being a poor guy in a nice area.
Yeah.
So me and my brother, we actually decided that we were going to do something about it. One of the things that our dad made us do was mow the grass and take out the trash.
Okay.
That was our contribution to the household. We did this for free. And we was like, what if we charge people to do this?
Yeah.
So at 8 years old, we started a lawn mowing business. 8, man. 8 years old. So I've been in this game for a minute.
I see.
So at 8 years old, we started a lawn mowing business, which I failed the whole art of negotiation. Our first deal was for $10 for the yard, right?
For back and front.
Yeah. But here's the deal. We were like, oh, yes. We were thinking $10 each, but we told the lady $10. So after we done spent 2 hours doing this yard and we get this $10, look, we both looking at each other like, well, where's the rest of the money?
Right.
And she said what she said, and she stood on business.
Yeah.
Y'all said $10.
So get on out of here.
But being able to take that money and go to the store, and that's where you can get Debbie snacks for 25 cents, man, a bag of Doritos for 25 cents.
So you blew it all.
Gone.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm old when I say that, man. I remember when I get a Debbie snack for 25 cents.
I mean, we getting older. We got a little gray hair.
But that was my first experience of being an entrepreneur. But what that let me know is, at a young age, I knew that I didn't need somebody to give me money. I could go earn it.
Right.
And the other thing is, man, like I have ADHD and bipolar disorder, which makes me pretty much unemployable. Because if you do something that I'm not really feeling or interested, I'm going to tell you about yourself. And I haven't been able to master that in a tactful way. And so I had to find something, a work environment that was conducive for me to provide for my family. And I think the best person to create that work environment was me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up being an IT guy myself. So when I was in the military, I did databases, information technology, all that stuff. And what I learned about myself very early on is I don't like to be isolated. So like as a IT guy, because you're a cybersecurity guy, right? Mm-hmm. So you work in isolation a lot of times. What is that like in regards to like coming in and out of that state of mind when you think about like your family and the larger community that you're a part of?
So it's kind of weird because like I am naturally an introvert and I actually like working in isolation. Mm-hmm. So most of the time I spend by myself at the office. And even in my career, as a cybersecurity consultant, I spend a lot of time by myself outside of conducting meetings or giving presentations. Mm-hmm. So that's just one of the natural things. What's interesting is me being an introvert, it actually takes a lot of energy for me to be around a lot of people.
Wow.
And it all, man, and until I had a conversation with my therapist, I didn't realize it was costing me millions of dollars. Being an introvert was costing me millions of dollars.
Got to figure that out.
So let me explain. So what would happen is I would get invited to speak at these conferences because like in the industry that I work in cybersecurity is specifically around credit card data security.
Right.
And I'm an industry leader in this space. So I would be at these conferences with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people speaking on the stage. And what naturally happens after you give a presentation, people want to come meet the speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not Boyd. I am in the green room hiding. I want these people to go away. I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah.
But then I was like, everything that you do when it comes to positioning yourself, marketing, branding yourself has to be done with intention. Why do you get on the stage? You don't get on the stage just to speak.
No.
You get on the stage to inform and influence, which leads to other opportunities. Mm-hmm. But if I am hiding from the people who can make decisions and pay me money, I am costing myself millions because these are executives at high-profile companies
They're
around
the ones
the world.
that write the check.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
And I'm there hiding, and they looking for me.
Yeah.
But it just took so much energy, man. So I ended up figuring out that I had to channel an alter ego.
Talk about it, brother.
So like all this, so when people see my YouTube channel, they see me preaching, they see me give me presentations. That is not Boyd.
Yeah.
I am operating as Batman. I am Batman.
That's your alter ego?
It is,
okay.
man. Like, right. Seriously.
I'm laughing with you, not at you.
I had to channel that alter ego because, like, at the end of the day, the most important people in my life is my family.
Absolutely.
And my family depend on what I do. So I cannot let my self-perceived limitations, because we're talking about mindset, right?
Right.
That is a mindset issue that I can't do this. I can't talk to these people because I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
That's a choice. And I choose to do something differently for the sake of my family.
Yeah. I'm different because I'm an extrovert and I actually steal energy from people. So that's my alter ego. I guess I'm Lex Luthor, right? But seriously, man, I love being in crowds. I love talking to people. You know, as a professor at the end of the class, of course, students want to come up and everything. But I'm literally siphoning off their energy and taking it for myself so I can get through the day. So it was different to hear you say what you're saying, that it's a drain for you on the other side, but I get it.
Yeah, speaking of that, what we were talking about earlier when it comes to working with spouses and whatnot, one of the things I failed to mention, it is important, and I believe that the Lord just puts us together. If this is a God-led marriage, He's going to put you with someone that complements those things that you don't have.
Absolutely.
My wife, Tiana, she is a great connector of people, and she's good in crowds. Even though she's an introvert too, she has mastered this art. And the Lord saw fit to give me this deficit so she could walk alongside me and be like, hey, guys, this is Boyd right here. And she gives me that push to get out to talk to the people. So we've been at many events, and I'm just off in the corner by myself, eating my hors d'oeuvres, sipping my drinks. And exactly. She's like, hey, man, get over here. These people you need to meet.
I love it. I love it. So let's shift gears. Let's talk a little bit about money, man. So you built a $22 million, 25, which number was it?
Like 25 million.
All right, something like that. Who cares, right? 25 million. You built a $25 million company. So talk about that journey leading up to that. Like, what are some of the money traps that you ran into as you were building that amount of wealth?
So when we're talking about money traps to building a multiple 8-figure company, so I'm going to talk about my stuff specifically.
Absolutely.
One of the challenges that I have in looking back that I can learn from now is oftentimes, especially if you are building a company from the ground up that becomes successful, you're not surrounded by people who've done the same thing.
Wow. I never thought about that, especially as a black man, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about this. I'm not gonna say we. I'm gonna say me. I grew up with these aspirations of like I want to become wealthy so that I can fill these voids. There's all these things that I want to buy.
Yeah.
So like the consumerism, the spirit of consumerism is planted from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just need the money so I can activate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I am making all this money, but I have no idea what to do with it because my mind has already been programmed. I am going to spend this
as soon as possible.
As soon as, because the culture has already told us we need to have bling. The wrist needs to be iced out. We need to drive the fast car. We need to have the nice clothes.
Yeah.
And those were things that I thought that you should do. So some of the pitfalls that came with creating this level of wealth, number one, it came so quickly. And sometimes when things come quickly, you don't appreciate it.
Right.
You don't appreciate it at all.
How quickly? Like, talk about that time frame.
Oh man, I'm talking about like in like maybe a 2.5-year period.
Wow.
And this happened at the height of the pandemic. Initially, when we started this online company, we were expecting to do maybe like $70,000 or $80,000 in a year, and end up doing like $700,000.
Wow.
And then it just kept growing and kept growing because I started to understand marketing, sales strategies, and really like stepping into the brand of what this whole training academy was. But what came with this, oh my goodness, man, it's so many things to consider. When you make so much money, it's problems that I pray that the viewers will have one day, is when you have more than $250,000 in a bank account, that's risky.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to figure out, like, what do you do with millions of dollars? You literally have to figure out how to get this money into enough accounts that if something happens with this bank, because we've seen banks crash, that your money is actually protected by the FDIC. Because if you got $1 million sitting in the bank, only $250 is protected.
If you're married, it's $500,000.
Okay, come through.
Yeah.
So like it's things that we literally had to hire wealth management teams to help us figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
Taxes, 6-figure tax bills. Like these were things that I never even thought about. Never even thought about, man.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. That was a little nugget there. So if I work with a lot of NFL guys going to the league, and I tell them the same thing. I'm like, listen, only 250 if you're single, 500,000 is covered. So if you have your money in the Silicon Valley Bank, which went bankrupt 2 years ago, that 17 million, forget about it. It's gone. And people are like, well, what happened? The insurance does not take care of that at all. So that's a good point you brought up. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received in the financial space, would you say?
Man, that's a tough one because I received a lot of advice and all of it was not very good.
Well, tell me the worst and tell me one of the best then.
So I would say some of the worst financial advice that I was given was just to pay all your taxes. I know that sounds crazy, right? To just pay all your taxes. Just, hey man, just whatever you owe, just pay it.
Okay.
Nah,
not
at all.
Okay.
So there are people right now, and there are laws. So like some people don't understand that the tax codes and laws were written in such a way that if you have an understanding of these things, there are ways that you can legally reduce your tax liability.
All right, teach us that.
I was not aware of these things. There's certain real estate moves that you can make that reduce your tax liability. And so if you have an accountant or a CPA that is just saying, hey, here's what you need to do to pay the IRS, they might as well work for the IRS. So my thing, so the worst advice is just like, hey, pay this. Because like the most expensive bill that I've ever seen was a tax bill. I called the CPA. I was like, "Hey, bro,
something wrong.
You added an extra zero on there." He was like, "No, that's legit." I called Tiana. I was like, "Babe," and she was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." I'm like, "How am I the only person that
didn't anticipate this, right?" You had that money earmarked to go do something else with, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so speaking of best financial advice, I believe I don't remember where this came from, but it comes down to monetizing the moments. So like anything that I do, time is money, right?
Time is money.
Money replenishes. Time does not.
No.
So I believe if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be purposeful in it, and I am going to monetize it. So, for example, this podcast right now, this is going on your channel or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I could take clips of this thing, and I could monetize this thing for my brand as well.
Absolutely.
Whenever I'm shooting some type of content, I'm thinking, how can I monetize this? And then there's once you build the brand, you can actually have brand partners who will sponsor segments of the video. So like the biggest thing that I would say ultimately, just to clarify, is not have a one-dimensional business. So people use sales and marketing as a way to fuel their business, but they can actually use content. That content itself can become a business that will continue to pay you without you having to do anything.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about you. I mean, you're always open to me specifically. Y'all don't call him because he don't know y'all like that. But they be like, hey, I need the cow hookup. No, don't use my name. But no, I love that you and your wife both, man. You guys don't hold anything back. You teach people what you know and you share that. And so I really appreciate you on that.
My pleasure.
What are some of the sacrifices that you had to make when you were building up to where you wanted to be?
Oh man, some of the sacrifices I had to make when building the business was there were actually some friends and family in my life that I had to distance myself from.
Yeah.
Because what happens is once you become successful, it's funny you started this conversation. I was talking about your company. What was it? What Cousins?
Cousins Delivery.
Covers delivery.
Yeah.
Funny, like when you become rich, man, you get a whole lot of new cousins.
Oh yeah. Everybody last name Quigley. I'm like, say man, hold on. Now you one of them Johnson boys. Yeah, for real. Yeah, they show up.
So like as much as I'm an introvert, there were certain things that like certain people and family and things I couldn't go around anymore because like you don't understand people's intentions.
Right.
Don't understand people's intentions. And it becomes almost kind of stressful.
It does.
Where you literally have to evaluate every relationship and people around you. Like, why are you talking to me? Why are you here? What are you trying to get from me?
Touching your clothes and sizing you up and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's very weird.
So then also have to sacrifice a level of privacy when you decide to start an online business.
Yeah, man.
Especially as the brand. Like I am the face. My face is on billboards, they're on website, on TV interviews. Like I'm on the news.
Everywhere.
Right. So then you put yourself on the microscope and you have to understand that if the folks crucified Jesus,
they coming for you.
They
brother.
coming for you. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. How well-meaning you are, they gonna come for you. Somebody's always gonna find something, and oftentimes it's some bot online, some meaningless person, but you can't take that stuff seriously. But there were sacrifices there, and then time. I spent a lot of time away from my kids, and they grow so quickly, man. It's like my oldest son is graduating from high school in a couple months. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, the last 3-4 years, man, I've been so busy, and I don't feel like we spend a lot of time together, man, and it really bothers me. And it's one thing to say, you know what, he got the money, he can get this paid for, but that time, because remember, money replenishes, time does not. And between like they're traveling for the different conferences, the business meetings and stuff, I was like, man, there was just so much time.
What do you recommend to people? I mean, because it's a give and take either way. So like if you want to build what you're trying to build, you're going to miss some days. You're going to miss some games. You're going to miss those kind of things. So how can you maybe help people that are out there that are dealing with that specifically?
I think that it really comes down to balance. I'm going to tell you this revelation that I had. You know, we created a multi-million-dollar company, multi-8-figure, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't need to do that. And if I would have asked myself why, I actually would not have built this company the way that I did. The reason why it took so much time for me because like I'm coaching, I'm pouring into these clients. We're bringing in 1,000 clients a month. 1,000 clients a
That's
month.
a lot of headaches.
Exactly. That's a lot of headaches. And even though the company is making, $1 million plus a month, we are not personally making $1 million plus per month.
Yeah.
So I had to hire more people. And so now my team is getting bigger and I'm having to manage those headaches as well. So, man, we have like 50 or 60 team members. That is a lot.
That's a lot.
But if I would have been thinking, I could have spent more time with my family if I would have raised the prices. I could have raised the prices.
In the height of everything building up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's counterintuitive, right? Most people don't think about raising the prices. You're like, oh, it's flooding coming through. Maybe even thinking about lowering the prices to get more people. But that's a cool strategy. Yeah,
because like the thing is, first of all, if you are selling something and you got a significant volume of people, your price is too low. And we charged $15,000. I know the price wasn't too low, but the results that we were getting were so good.
Yeah.
But if I would have raised it, I could have reduced the number of people that we're bringing in, which would have reduced my employees, which would have reduced my payroll costs, which would have raised my profitability.
Right. And then you filter more of the people that are coming in.
Exactly.
With that new price.
Quality
Okay.
over quantity.
I like it.
Make more money, less stress, have the right people, and you can be more profitable. More is not the way to go. We live in a culture right now where it's like 10X, let's grow. But like I would literally challenge the people to ask yourselves, why do you want to do this? Why? I don't need, it's cool, but I don't need a company making $30 million a year.
Most people don't think that way, though.
They don't.
That's the important piece, man.
Like, what do you mean? I don't need it.
So that being said, like, how did you define wealth when you were coming up? I know you wanted to be able to buy some Skittles and a couple of snack packs over on the side, but like, as Black people specifically, we think rich, we don't think wealth.
100%.
So like, at what point did you shift your mindset from being rich to wealth? And what was that?
So wealth, to me, the way I looked at it was being able to give whatever monetary amount I wanted to without thinking about it and knowing that that does not affect my household. So if I want to write a check for $500,000 to a worthy cause, my children are not going to suffer from it. It doesn't hurt my family. I'm in a position to do that. Because at the end of the day, that was the intent behind us being able to generate so much money so that we could give back. Yeah, man. Because like there's only so much you can do with money. like people say this until they get there. There's only so much stuff that you can buy.
Because then you actually, they call it King's disease. You ever heard that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you make so much money, you start eating different and those kind of things. You start buying a bunch of stuff and then you start looking around. You're like, I got all this stuff, but I don't have anything inside of me.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm with you, bro. I kind of touched that a little bit. I'm not quite where you were. So Lord, let me get a little more sicker. But yeah, I dig what you're saying, man. So what motivates you and Tiana to keep growing like you do, man? What's the motivation behind that?
The motivation is really providing for our family and then their children's. So like we are trying to leave a legacy of not only just financial freedom, but also a legacy of faith. Because without God, man, none of this would be possible
at all.
So like we want to get to a place where we can just give and sow into the kingdom causes that we deem worthy. Because like we've done all the consumerism stuff that you can imagine. I've done it all. And there is no greater joy than actually meeting the need of somebody else versus going to buy a new car or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love to see how it's translated. So our oldest son that's graduated, he actually started a production company. So homie don't ask me for gas money no more. He don't ask me for food. So he goes out, he takes pictures and videos for different athletes and whatnot, puts his own spin on it. Framed by Ashton, it's a plug. But he's actually making his own money.
Shout out to Ashton.
Making his own money. And I'm like, dude, I'm like really proud of you.
Yeah.
And what's cool is like the seed was actually planted right here. So we were working on the cameras and the media department at the church and whatnot. And so he's taking that same passion, those same skills, and he's learning how to monetize it.
That's
and
it,
I
man.
love it. And all of our kids, well, I can't say all of them, 2 of the 4 are like this. They're like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to try to make some money. There's 2 of them I'm still working on right now. We're going to get them there.
Your odds say you're going to probably keep at least one of them forever. So, like, what's one thing that you believe everyone should do with their money? You've been, at the bottom, you've been at the top, and everywhere in between. So what's one piece of advice you would give to a young person watching this? Like, do this with your money.
Yeah, the one piece of advice I would give, I think everybody needs to do with their money, is find an investment where their money makes them money. Because the thing is, what I preach and I teach to my clients, especially those that have a job, you need to manage your career like a business, because it is. I don't believe in jobs and bosses. I don't even like the word boss. Nah. But that company that hired you, they hired you for the services that you provide. So you are a service provider. But I want you to think about, if y'all are watching this, look at your paycheck. Look at your paycheck, how many hours it took you to make that money. Mm-hmm. If you are not making money in your sleep, you are eventually going to run out of time.
Yeah.
So you need to make an investment where your money is making money, because your money don't get tired.
At all.
Money don't get tired.
And it never sleeps either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It don't get tired and it doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
So that was, thinking about mistakes, that was one of the things, man, I got to tell you this real quick, man. Big mistake that I made with not truly understanding investing. Mm-hmm. Being a online business, digital marketer, man, sometimes we spend upwards of $50,000 a month on a social media campaign, right?
Okay.
And typically you can get a 3 to 5x return on it. To me, that was investing.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I must make $30,000. We're gonna make this money back. But you only make that money back if you make the sales to actually make that money back. But what would happen if that same $30,000 to $50,000 was invested in a mutual fund or something, where it was actually growing without you having to go make a sale, while it was actually doing its thing at night, where it's not having to deal with refunds or complaining customers.
I got a portfolio I need to show you. We'll get you there. Yeah. Monthly dividends is the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially once you make that million, man. That money in perpetuity is ridiculous.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to close this thing out with some rapid fire questions, man. So just first thing that comes to mind, all right? First thing that comes to mind. All right, so beach or snow?
Beach.
What's your favorite place in the world?
Oh, dude, that's tough. I've been so many places.
I know you have. That's why I asked.
Let's come back to that one.
All right, stocks, real estate, or crypto?
Real estate.
All right, what's your splurge item?
Shoes.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say Skittles. I'm like, man, you can.
Nah, I'm over the Skittles.
You're over the Skittles now.
I'm over the Skittles.
All right, if your company went public, what would be the first thing that you would do with the money?
Okay, so if the company went public, that's a significant amount.
That's a significant amount.
Of coins.
Yeah.
I buy a tech company.
Okay.
Another tech company.
Mm-hmm. Why?
The reason why, because the idea is if I could take this one public, I can make it. I can do it again. Let me buy something that's already going.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love it. All right, what app or tool can you not live without? Well, you not live without. Not live. Yeah, without. I said it right. Yeah.
Whoop.
Whoop. What's Whoop?
Whoop is this band right here.
Okay.
It tracks my sleep, my mood. It lets me know when I should go to sleep, when I should wake up, because energy management is everything.
Okay. What's one thing you would do if you could go back 10 years from now?
Oh, my goodness. If I could go back 10 years from now, I would show myself this. I would try to rid myself of this consumerism spirit. That's what I would do. There were certain cars I wouldn't buy. I would tell myself, don't buy supercars. That's what I would do.
I mean, the McLaren was clean, though, bro.
It was.
McLaren or helicopter? I'm hearing helicopter now, huh?
Oh, definitely helicopter.
Definitely helicopter. All right. Last one was favorite place in the world.
Turks and Caicos.
Okay.
By the way,
right.
I can tell the people who have not been to the island because they say Turks and
Caicos.
It's Caicos.
So he checking for you. Don't be trying to front. Yeah, I was in Turks and Caicos.
You know you weren't.
They don't let you get away with that there?
No.
All right.
So it's funny. We, me and Tiana, we went to the island, and so we have this driver, and this driver's taking us. back to our spot. By the way, we had this nice little spot on the beach that Michael Jordan and LeBron stay in when they go to
nice.
Turks. And J. Cole was our neighbor. It was wild.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Wild, right?
Yeah.
So we're listening to the radio. They're like, yeah, it's going to be some degrees in Turks and Caicos today. I'm like, Caicos? Is it?
As if they don't know.
Right. Exactly. Like they don't know. And then
Right.
somebody else said something like, Caicos. I was like, yo.
Yeah. Been saying it wrong all this time.
My whole life.
You're official now, though. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I love you to death. You and your wife both, man. Y'all have a beautiful family, and
My
good
pleasure.
luck on everything going forward.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.